If we really do have a problem in the banking systems and the negative interest rates reflect something pernicious, what are some of the other charts that we can look at that might reflect those facts? And I think one of the best ones is this gold-oil ratio. And if you look at it going back to 1990, you can see that every time it's gone above 25 or even 20, here we are 20, there's been some sort of crisis that's followed at its peak. And I think that's in large part because oil is a reflection of demand. And when demand drops to a significant degree, often, you have more stimulus and gold rises. And so you see here the Latin American crisis, the Asian financial crisis, the '08 crisis, the EU sovereign debt crisis. It's very clear. Now, you take a look at this chart, and you see where we are now. Now, as I said, I'm not a gloom and doom guy. I don't think the world's falling apart, but this clearly reflects something. Do we know exactly what it is? No, we don't.
Dan, let's talk a little bit about gold and volatility.
Just following on from the gold oil chart, if we think that this reflects something, that might be happening in the world that we're not quite aware of, you can see that gold can act as a safe haven as well. And I think that's how it's generally known. And when you look at this chart, which is the VIX chart, the volatility index, which reflects volatility pickup and drop in the S&P, basically every time it's gone above 30, gold performance 6 months later on average has been 9%. And again, you can see some of these returns have been huge, and in only one time was it negative. But you can see clearly that it pays to hold in this kind of environment. And if you're in a situation where the gold oil ratio is where it is, where the banking charts are where they are with negative yields, I think it's a pretty safe bet that gold will perform in your portfolio.
How do you answer the comment about the supply dynamics changing with oil? I mean, would you argue that the gold-oil ratio is not as relevant today as it maybe was 10 years ago, pre-fracking?
Oh, well, that's a good question. I often, especially when looking at these big macro charts, and when they go back 25 years, I'm not looking for that, micro data points. That would be something micro. You could talk about how gold 15 years ago, producing it was different than it is today. Just as an example, in 2000, China barely produced any gold, and today they're the world's largest producer. So they also went from being very small consumers to the world's largest consumer. So I'm not necessarily saying that that's an important fact, or that the increase of fracking or the Saudi stance is relevant. All I'm doing, and again, I could be wrong, I'm looking at this chart, and it's very basic.
And it's one of many charts that you're
looking at. One of many charts, but this is very basic, that we're at a level where in the past 25 years, there's always been a reason to be concerned. And if we do head up there and we do have some sort of, we're there now, and we do have some sort of financial problem, you can see the VIX would certainly go up, and you can see the return of the gold when the VIX has gone up.